Have you ever wondered why we're still here? I mean, think about it. Our DNA is constantly being copied, and every single time there's a chance for a mistaken mutation. Some of these mutations are devastating, causing deadly genetic diseases. So, with all these potential disasters lurking in our genes, why haven't we just gone extinct? It's a fascinating question, and the answer lies in a delicate cosmic balancing act happening inside every one of us. Let's start with the scary stuff: deadly mutations. These are the genetic typos that can lead to conditions like cystic fibrosis, Huntington's disease, or Tay-Sachs. You might think that with millions of years of evolution, these harmful mutations would have been completely wiped out, but they persist. Why? Well, one major reason is something called recessive inheritance. Many of these genetic diseases only show up if you inherit a faulty copy of a gene from both your mother and your father. If you only get one bad copy, you become a carrier. You don't have the disease yourself, but you can pass that faulty gene onto your children. This carrier status acts like a secret hiding place for the mutation, allowing it to sneak through generations without being noticed or selected against. Another surprising reason these mutations stick around is what's known as heterozygote advantage. This is where being a carrier for a disease-causing gene actually gives you a survival advantage against something else. The classic example is sickle cell anemia. If you have two copies of the sickle cell gene, you get a serious blood disorder. But if you have just one copy, if you're a carrier, you're largely protected from malaria, one of the deadliest diseases in human history. In areas where malaria is common, being a carrier is a huge plus. This advantage keeps the sickle cell gene circulating in the population, even though it can be harmful in a double dose. It's a trade-off, a genetic compromise that nature has made. The same is suspected for cystic fibrosis carriers, who might have had increased resistance to diseases like cholera or typhoid fever. Then there are de novo mutations. This is a fancy term for a brand new mutation that appears for the first time in a family. It wasn't inherited from either parent. It just happened spontaneously in the egg, the sperm, or during early embryonic development. These are completely random events, like a lightning strike. It means that even in families with no history of a particular genetic disorder, it can suddenly appear. It's another way that harmful mutations are constantly being reintroduced into the human gene pool, keeping the evolutionary pressure on. So, with all these ways for bad mutations to pop up and stick around, it sounds like we're fighting a losing battle. But here's where the story takes a turn. Because for every potentially harmful mutation, there are countless others that are either neutral, meaning they do nothing at all, or are actually beneficial. And these beneficial mutations are the superstars of our survival story. What makes a mutation beneficial? It's any genetic change that gives an individual a slight edge in their environment. This could be anything from being able to digest a new type of food to having better resistance to a virus. Think about lactase persistence. Originally, all adult humans were lactose intolerant. They couldn't digest the sugar in milk. But thousands of years ago, a mutation appeared in some populations, particularly in Europe and parts of Africa, that allowed adults to keep producing the lactase enzyme. In cultures that were domesticating cattle, this was a massive advantage. It opened up a whole new source of nutrition, especially when other foods were scarce. Today, that mutation is common in many parts of the world. What was once an anomaly became the new normal because it helped people survive and have more children. Another incredible example is the EPase-1 gene, often called the super athlete gene. A specific version of this gene is common among Tibetan people, who live at incredibly high altitudes. This mutation allows their bodies to use oxygen much more efficiently, preventing the sickness that affects most of us when we go up a high mountain. This isn't something they trained for. It's a genetic gift, a mutation that became widespread because it was perfectly suited to their extreme environment. It allowed them to thrive where others would struggle. So we have this constant tug-of-war. On one side, we have deadly mutations being introduced through random chance and hiding in carriers. On the other side, we have beneficial mutations popping up, giving individuals a survival boost and spreading through the population. This entire process is orchestrated by the great director of life, natural selection. Natural selection is not a conscious force. It's simply a process. Individuals with traits and the genes that code for them that are better suited to their environment are more likely to survive, reproduce, and pass those successful genes on. Individuals with harmful mutations are, on average, less likely to do so. It's a slow, relentless filtering process that spans millennia. This brings us to the core of why we haven't gone extinct. Genetic diversity. The very same process that creates harmful mutations, random genetic typos, also creates the raw material for evolution. Our vast, sprawling gene pool is filled with millions of variations. Most of them might not do much right now, but they represent a massive toolkit of potential solutions for future problems. If a new, deadly virus emerges, there might be a rare, random mutation already present in a few people that gives them natural immunity. They will survive and pass on that gene, and humanity adapts. If the climate changes, a mutation that helps people cope with heat might become more common. Our survival isn't about having perfect, unchanging DNA. It's about having messy, diverse, and constantly changing DNA. The danger of deadly mutations is the price we pay for the opportunity of beneficial ones. They are two sides of the same evolutionary coin. Without mutation, we couldn't adapt. We would be a static species, waiting for the first major environmental shift to wipe us out. So the next time you think about genetic diseases, remember the bigger picture. Remember that the mechanism causing them is the same one that allows us to digest milk, to live on mountains, and to fight off diseases. We haven't gone extinct because our species isn't a fragile, perfectly tuned machine. We're a chaotic, adaptable, and incredibly resilient work in progress. The constant stream of mutations isn't just a threat. It's the very engine of our survival. Thanks for watching. If you found this journey into our DNA fascinating, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more explorations into the amazing world of science. See you next time.